Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me today and thank you for being here. If you're new to my channel, thank you so much. If you're back again to watch another video, thank you so much for your support. It's really appreciated. So today is going to be a really fun piece and it's going to be a very special piece because it's going to combine different techniques on one canvas and it's going to be Spice Girls themed. The Spice Girls, I was a huge fan of the Spice Girls growing up and I thought what a great opportunity to do a really fun piece, combine some of the designs, combine some of the techniques that I've learnt and create a piece that represents the girl group of the 90s and one of the biggest girl groups in the world. So I'm really passionate about this. I want to have some fun. I want to play with colours. I want to play with techniques. So I had a little bit of thinking time about what kind of colour palettes I wanted to use. So I came up with this. Now each Spice Girl can relate to different colour palettes and different designs, and I'm sure you can all guess which one represents which if you're a fan. If you're not a fan, that's totally okay. This is about having fun, creating a piece that's a bit different to what I would normally do, using different colour palettes, using different techniques. So let's see what we can create. Okay, so I'm going to have to start off doing each section and I'll probably let them dry and then add to them afterwards. So this is my plan. Hopefully you'll be able to distinguish which is which. Scary, Ginger, Posh, Baby and Sporty. So for this video, I have sped up all the sections because it did take me quite a long time. There was a lot of prep and I needed to decide what kind of colour palettes to use for each section to represent each Spice Girl. So you'll see here I am using some tape to tape off each section and I'll do one section at a time, trying to do different techniques. It's necessary to tape off because I don't want colours bleeding into the other sections. But if they do bleed into other sections, that's totally okay. So obviously the pinks, this is, I'm starting off with Baby Spice. And I'm going to layer the pinks, that's going to be my base. And I'm going to layer two other tones, a darker pink and then like a mid-range tone pink. All the colours are listed in the description. But I'm going to blow it out using a hairdryer. And yeah, I'm excited. So let me get the base down and, you know, and let's just see how this turns out. I want it to be fun. This is a piece that I would never normally do. I've not really kind of combined all different techniques before on one canvas. So just blowing out the base paint. And yeah, I'm excited for this one. Okay, so the base paint is down and now I'm going to layer the pinks. Two different pinks just on top of each other. And I think I'm also going to put some white. I'm going to splash some white over the top just to see if we can create any of those cells. And then I will get my blower and I will pour the paint over the centre and blow it out and see what kind of design I can create. So Dutch pour method. Yeah, so here we go. I do love the flow of how this is kind of working out, and those pinks are, yeah, this is Baby Spice, right? So pink is perfect. Okay, so I'm now on to Scary Spice, and I'm going to try and think of like the leopard print design that that Mel B always wears, that signifies Scary Spice. So I'm going to use a burnt sienna base coat, and I'm not going to stick strictly to a kind of leopard print design, but I'm going to kind of use those colours and see what happens. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to layer a couple of tones in a puddle, and then using my mouth just blow out the pieces so the colours can spread across that panel a bit more. So that's the idea. I hope it works. So I'm going to have a darker colour on the base and then a lighter colour on the top. Again, I'm going to list all the colours in the description, just in case you wanted to try something like this. You know, this is, as I said, this is going to be a fun piece. Really, really hope it works out, because I've never done five different techniques on one canvas before. And, you know, it's a learning curve for me, and we've all got to take those kind of steps, haven't we? When we're trying something different, it may not work out. And if it doesn't, then I'll learn from that and I'll think what didn't go right. And I kind of think what has gone really well. And then I'll take those forward for the next piece that I design. But, you know, I'm happy with how this is going at the moment. I'm layering the two colours in like a puddle, and then I'm going to blow out each one. And see how that design looks. I know from experience that this will sometimes create a kind of a ripple effect in the paint, but as long as the paint dries smooth, I'm happy. But again, I'm happy to create some textures. This is kind of a learning piece for me, and yeah, this is fun. Okay, so now on to Ginger Spice, and Jerry wore that famous dress, didn't she? The Union Jack dress that everyone kind of remembers and still talks about. You know, I went to the latest tour that they did, and yeah, the Union Jack theme was very, very present throughout. So of course I've got to try and replicate something like the Union Jack. So what I've decided is I'm going to use the colours of the Union Jack, so white, red and blue, and I'm going to create a piece that will hopefully do this piece justice. So I'm going to use those colours to create a very abstract piece. Now, some of the white is pouring over into the other section, but that's okay because I can paint over that. It is only paint, but for this one, I'm going to use a funnel, and I'm going to layer, as you can see, the red, the blue, and then a dash of white in the funnel each time, and then I'm going to drag that funnel all the way down the edge, releasing the paint as I go, and that should create a kind of a different kind of design. As I said, this is fluid art. This is going to be abstract. Not going to be a complete Union Jack that you'll see, but it's going to incorporate the colours, and this is my take on it, and let's see how it turns out. I just need to layer some more paints. I want to make sure I've got enough paint, but I'm also very conscious that more paint I put on, it will expand and spread out as I create a piece. So I'm just dragging that down, and then what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to go all the way back up again, just covering the surface with the red, the white and the blue, and then I'm going to blow some of this out and just see what kind of cells that I can create as well. I want to create an abstract piece, so you'll see I've used my torch. There was some air bubbles there. It also helps some of the cells appear as well. So I'm just going to blow some of this through and see what kind of colours can come out. So I've only used the 3 colours. I don't want to muddy them too much. I don't want to create really any other colours from those colours. So I'm just going to blow gently all the way up the design and see what I can create. I'm really, really liking this panel, actually. You know, as I'm blowing and you can see some of the cells forming, I'm just going to add a little bit more blue. I think some of the blue has been a bit lost in some of that design. And I'm just going to use the straw try and guide the paint across, you'll see that I've got quite a lot of base colour there. And you'll also see that as I'm blowing, the colours are underneath, but the base colour is kind of taking over a bit and swamping those colours. So I need to work out a way of bringing those through. So I've added a little bit more red and a little bit more blue, and I'm using my palette knife to kind of swipe and kind of create a design. I'm really happy with how the cells are forming in this one. Okay, so now on to Sporty Spice. And I'm going to paint this panel freestyle. So I'm just going to use the iconic kind of the colours that I think were in the Wannabe video. So I'm going to just do a freestyle kind of, I'm going to paint the base, a blue and orange, and then I'm going to add the 3 orange stripes down the side that represents that brand that Melanie C wore in the early days. And again, you know, it's good to just try different techniques. There are so many techniques available that you can experiment with fluid art, but sometimes it is always good to just go back to basics and put brush to the canvas and see what happens. All the Spice Girls were very, very different. So that's why I want to create different techniques to create this piece. So those 5 techniques coming together into one piece. Okay, so that's dried, and I'm now adding 3 stripes down the side, just so it can kind of flow through and represent the brand that Melanie C wore. I love how vibrant some of these colours are, and I'm really, really happy with how this looks like it's going to turn out really well. What do you guys think? I'd really love to know what you think. Okay, last but not least, Posh Spice. So, you know, Victoria Beckham is an iconic fashion designer. So for this one, I'm going to stick to the theme of a little black dress that she wore in the Spice Girls. But I also want to put some texture to this one and create that texture just by using a thicker base paint and my palette knife, and then using that kind of technique to create a texture on this one panel. And then what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to put some gold. I'm going to brush some gold on the top and use the palette knife to create some kind of some textured a textured surface, because I think it's really important that this one is also different and reflects a different technique. I wanted to combine all those different techniques and styles that you can always create in this piece. This has been a big challenge for me. You know, it hasn't been easy. There have been some things that I've learned and some obstacles that I've had to overcome. But you know what? I absolutely love how I can just experiment with some of my ideas and my creations. And I hope this dries well, because at the moment it's looking good to me, and I just hope it dries well so it's a piece that can come together with those ideas and those techniques I've had. I'm just gonna make sure I cover the sides here. All the sides are covered on the other panels, so yeah, I'm liking it. I'd love to know what you think. If you've got any feedback as well, please just drop them in the comments. I always make time to read all the comments and respond to everybody. So thank you in advance for taking some time to watch this video. It's been real fun for me. Thinking about the days when I was growing up, and you know, I was a big fan of the Spice Girls, and this piece is just kind of bringing those memories alive again for me, which has been really, really fun and really, really nice. Okay, so I'm taking some gold paint. Again, it's thick paint, thicker paint than the fluid paint that I had for the other panels. Just adding this across the piece and using the palette knife to swipe across, just to kind of give that kind of depth and that texture to that panel. I really like the gold and the black together. Yeah, I'm really happy with this one, and I'm really pleased that I've used some texture. So here it is. Oh my god, I'm really happy with how it's turned out. Some of it's still wet, but obviously, you know, we've got the Mel B, we've got the Jerry, got the Victoria, got Emma, and Melanie C. I really like this piece, and I hope you do too. I'd love to hear what you think, and I'd love to see you again soon. Have a great week. Bye.